Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time! 3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Ayler's gone! Goodbye, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Friday. I hope you have had a great week, and we can end it on a positive note for you, no matter what you're wanting to do. Hopefully we can have some fun today. It is a Friday. That means the weekend is upon us, and it's a kind of an easy weekend this weekend, and I'm excited about that. Indiana has a basketball game tonight. Late on a Friday night. That's not the funnest thing to have to do on a Friday night, probably, but Saturday's going to be a little relaxing. The bowl season will start, I think, today, as a matter of fact. But we can just start relaxing a little bit before we get into the college football playoffs hot and heavy next week, as it will begin. Indiana and Notre Dame will open up the festivities with the first round matchup up in South Bend. It's the only game in town, people, and all eyes in the college football world will be watching Indiana and Notre Dame. An incredible opportunity for Indiana to kind of extinguish the taste from some as far as whether or not they are deserving to be in the playoffs and this, that, and the other thing. Last night, the Home Depot Awards on the College Football Awards night. A lot of people. Travis Hunter, man, he was a big, big winner. But Indiana's Kurt Cignetti wins the Home Depot National Coach of the Year Award. That's his second. He's already won the AP Big Ten Coach of the Year. There are a few more out there that he is in the running for as well. The Eddie Robinson Football Association of America, Writers Association of America, he's up for that one as well. I'm still trying to figure out what the Home Depot is. This is the AP different now? It's a little confusing. There's so many awards. They have to have a show just for the awards. But Travis Hunter, a big winner. Also, Miami's Cam Ward wins the Maxwell Award as college football's top player and the Doak Walker Award from the nation for the nation's top running back after leading the nation with 2,497 yards and 29 touchdowns. Miami's Cam Ward was the Davey O'Brien Quarterback of the Year award winner with the nation's best 36 passing touchdowns, along with over 4,000 yards rushing. Ashton Jeanty won the Doak Walker Award. I want to make sure I didn't think I said that. Ashton Jeanty's the kid from Boise State who went for over $2,000, $24.97 to be specific, with 29 rushing touchdowns. Great year. He beat out Cam Scattaboo. Man, never going to get tired of saying that name. Scattaboo. South Carolina defensive end Kyle Nettard captured the Bronco Nagurski Trophy as the top defensive player, racking up 11 and a half sacks and 18 and a half tackles for loss on the season. Ohio State center Seth McLaughlin, an Alabama transfer, won the Remington Trophy. I don't even know what that is. What'd you get, a rifle? The Jim Thorpe Award as the best defensive back went to Texas cornerback Jahdae Barron, who led the SEC with 5 INTs. Wondering how that one got away from Travis Hunter, to be honest with you. But the top punter was USC's Eddie Zaplicki. He captured the Ray Guy Award. Louisiana's Kenneth Almendarez was picked as the top place kicker, winning the Lou Groza Award. Georgia's Jalen Walker won the Butkus Award, nation's best linebacker. Penn State's Tyler Warren was the most outstanding tight end. He set a school record, single season record with 67 catches for over 800 yards. That's pretty damn good for a tight end. So piling them up. But yeah, the awards, they're handing them out. Travis Hunter certainly received his fair share. He is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. Of course, one of the finalists. I would be pretty surprised if he doesn't win the Heisman. He's around I think he's the favorite to win, the betting favorite. Minus 2,000 over Genty. I think that's announced Saturday. So we'll see. Biggest award out there, the Heisman Trophy. How's everybody doing? Appreciate you joining us no matter where and how you're listening upon one of our great affiliates like 97.7 ESPN, The Ref. Always the right call in Evansville, covering our peeps down in Southwest Indiana, up in the region on the voice of the region, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, WJOB, and in Fort Wayne on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Keep it locked in right here all day long. There's no place, no reason to change. This is the best place you can be. Locked in on these stations. Let's see. Hitting up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline as well. Ringing in. See if there's any particular questions. None yet. Just a lot of shout outs. How's everybody doing? Can Indiana defeat Nebraska in basketball? Brian says he can't believe he has to ask that, but yeah, they can. Absolutely. And we'll talk about that, of course, as Todd Leary joins us in the next segment. This is what Todd will not call it this, but I will. To me, this is a must win for Indiana. It's kind of hard to have a must win 2 games into the conference season, but this is on that list for me. But it's because winning on the road in the Big Ten is going to come at a premium this season, more so than most. And you cannot give up. You can't not win the games you're supposed to win. And you have to win a couple of games you're not supposed to win for this team to make the NCAA tournament. They can't lose a game like this. Because there are going to be enough losses down the road when you go to travel to all of the other places that are going to be minefields. The Big Ten is like a minefield this season. And Indiana has not shown me yet that they're a team that is to be feared. I've seen the possibilities of how you can beat them. If I was Nebraska, that's how I would be looking at it, because they don't have the talent that Indiana has, without question. So they're going to have to outplay Indiana to win. But that's always a possibility. That's up to the individuals. That's up to the team. That's up to the players, to the coaches. And it's always a possibility. Somebody's going to outplay somebody else. Who is it going to be? Which side are you going to be on as the athlete? But Nebraska has had their way with Indiana the last couple of years in basketball. That's not something that's good for the Hoosiers. They need to get that one switched around. It's kind of like the sway they held over Wisconsin and Northwestern for all those years, Penn State, and that's kind of gone away. But it's also an opportunity for Indiana to start flexing its own muscles and getting better and showing that, hey, we're a player in this. Yes, we are a team that should be recognized as will be fighting for the Big Ten championship. Tonight will be an example for them, in my opinion. Do they fight? Do they win? It's a great this is what those opportunities are for. And that's how I view them. But looking forward to talking to Todd Leary about it when he joins us, and that and about everything else that's going on. And we have got a ton lined up. Great day yesterday. Fun day with Tim Brando joining us from Fox Sports. He just one of the all-time greats. And if you missed that, it's worth going back to. He's just the guy's a pro, man. And he has been a pro for a long time. He's done as much as anybody in the business of calling games, being on the mic, 40 plus years, ESPN, CBS, Fox, and just as down to earth and nice of a guy as you're ever going to meet. Man, hey, we've got lots more coming up, and I couldn't be happier about it that you're here with us to enjoy it. I hope your week went well, and if not, we're going to get your weekend going in the right direction. We've got plenty more coming up. We'll be talking about it all. Indiana basketball, football, the Colts. They're back at it this weekend as they travel to Denver after a week off. We'll ring up the Colts as well. Plenty more here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. We're back with more right after these messages.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at BenDavisChevrolet.com and BenDavisFord.com.
Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off your first order.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com.
Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Morale in Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Marie Island, Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Friday. And I hope you are ready for the weekend. I know Todd Leary is. Welcome aboard, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to get through another week. Next Friday, we'll be super excited.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm enjoying this weekend because it's kind of calm, even though they had to stick a freaking basketball game at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I'd like to kick whoever scheduled these games right in the kneecaps. I mean, who in the hell? There was complaints about, the attendance was not great Monday night. It was a 6:30 game. And I'm like, why are they scheduling these games like this? Who are they? Is this just for TV?
Yes, is the easy answer to that is yes. I mean, this is what's interesting to me. If you went back over the years, even like when I played and we had successful teams that always made the tournament and made deep runs and all that, games like that, there were empty seats. I noticed it. I obviously, when you look around the arena, when you come out to warm up, especially, it's super empty because people aren't there that early, and there's always empty seats. Maybe there was a few more than normal. The weather was crap.
Oh yeah, it was not a great combination of things. Nope. for certain. But tonight they head west, and they play a game that I've said many times that you won't call it this, but I'm going to, that it's I hate to use the term, but it's a must win, but a must win because these opportunities are going to be few and far between on the road in the Big Ten this year with all of the minefields or the landmines that are out there, that you cannot stub your toe on one that you're not supposed to stub your toe on. That's why I call this a must win. They can't let this kind of a game get away from them. They've got to get these wins under their belt.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I don't.
Yes, disagree. It's okay.
I mean, this time of year, it's really hard to say a game is a must win because so many different things will shake out. Like there are some other games. I think those games in Atlantis were must wins when you're talking about trying to keep your net ranking, in the ballpark of making the tournament. And, the last thing I want to do is get down to the end of the season again and be trying to say, well, this win was better back then. I just don't want to make any excuses. I want them to win enough games that they're easily in the net ranking. They need to win some games that maybe are 50-50, that maybe they're not supposed to win. And I've said this for 3 years now, actually for like 10 years now with this team, is they've got to start winning games that, they're on the road. You're not sure they're going to win. They need to stop using the excuse of the road.
Absolutely. Big game this weekend. Louisville goes down to Lexington, plays Kentucky. Rick Bozich was on with us Wednesday. We talked about that. That's Louisville not looking as good. They've lost some guys since they beat the snot out of Indiana and are not the same team that they were in Atlantis. And Kentucky is playing well under first-year coach Mark Pope.
Yeah, they really are. Kentucky, that's one of those games that I'm sure Kentucky's looking more forward to it than Louisville is. But, give Pat Kelsey credit down there. I think that's a name, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's created an energy down there that they haven't had in a while, and it's not going to be long before they are, this game will be one that'll be looked at like IU and Purdue or Duke and North Carolina. That Louisville Kentucky game should be one of those that's up there.
So should the Indiana Kentucky game, which we will get to relive starting next season. Boy, you don't want to go into that not fully loaded and being in a difficult situation, but that series resumes next year.
Yeah.
And that should have never ended, but it is what it is. But Indiana's going to have to be ready when that series resumes, because Kentucky looks like they're going to be ready.
Yeah, who knows though? Their lineup won't look anywhere near what it is right now next season, and neither will ours. So that's hard to tell, and that's looking way out in advance. But the real importance, I think, to this game tonight for Indiana is the teams that are able to get off to a 2-0 start in the games that are sprinkled in, I'll say, in early December. You're at such an advantage, and you look at all the teams that have already lost. Wisconsin's lost at home, Purdue lost on the road. If you're going to try to stay in that top tier, and by that I don't mean the top half, I mean the top 3 or 4 teams for a chance to win the Big Ten. This is one that you need to win. Must win is probably a little strong. I know exactly what you're saying and don't completely disagree, but it's one that would put them in a great position going into the January conference games.
What does Indiana need to do tonight in this game besides win? And I know they have to defend. Nebraska is not what they were. They don't have Tominaga now. He's playing for the Mad Ants, so they don't have to worry about that. But they still have to guard the 3. What does Nebraska do well right now under Fred Hoiberg?
Fred Hoiberg is a magician at creating an offense that's hard to guard. And, Indiana's got to eliminate a lot of easy baskets. That one thing Nebraska is good at is they get movement, and they kind of put the shiny object over here, and then all of a sudden a cut comes over there and it's a wide open layup. And Hoiberg's just good at diagramming and, things that are difficult to defend. And on the other end of the floor, he's one of the guys, I think, there are some coaches that say, hey, this is what we do. We're putting that product out on the floor. And there are other coaches that kind of game plan and scheme a little bit more. I think from the outside looking in, I think Hoiberg seems to be one of those guys that schemes a little bit more than other programs might. And so defensively, they'll have something, whether it's some kind of matchup zone and they might just go to it once here or there. They might pressure the ball all the way up the court just to kill time, make Indiana's offense, struggle to get started at least. Because Indiana is very easy to diagnose in what they're trying to accomplish. And we all know they're going to try to throw the ball inside. Yeah, they'll play some fast, but at the end of the day, they want to throw the ball inside. Well, the defenses know that too. And so they'll put some stuff together to try to take that away and make it more difficult. Or if nothing else, make it so that it's later in the shot clock by a little full court pressure. And then you start that play later in the shot clock, you really are down to only 1 or 2 options you've got to score at that point.
Indiana takes I'd say a hit, but not really. Gabe Cupps has not played much this year. I don't know if that was because of this little nagging injury or just because of coach's decision with the guys in front of him, but he had a procedure done and he's going to be gone for an indefinite amount of time, which could be the entire season. Just means that's just one less person they're not going to have on the road in games like this if things were to get strenuous, let's say.
Yeah, and Indiana, if the circumstance arises where they want to play smaller or they need extra fouls because the guard's getting foul trouble or whatever it is, it limits the depth. I think Gabe is a guy that the coaching staff was comfortable putting in there to kind of fill a role, fill the gap without making too many mistakes. But I don't think production-wise they had really counted on him for a lot so far this season. So I don't know that it'll be a huge setback. But, in the kid's health perspective, let's just hope for a complete and speedy recovery and get him back out there. Being a practice player is important. I mean, it used to be something that was talked about a lot. And, having quality guys to play and practice. I know they got managers they can throw in there and all that. I get it. But, I mean, having quality guys to practice against makes you better. And that's one of the things I look at that's a negative from Gabe Cup's perspective.
I could say this because I think that this transcends across all sports and all levels. You want to open up a coach's eyes or get someone's attention, do the little things. Be the guy. If you're in that crap role, be the guy.
Yep.
I mean, make it as hard as hell. Do whatever it takes. I remember just something simple as when I was in high school playing football, winning sprints at the end of practice. Little things like that. I remember coach saying my name for the first time because I kept winning the end of the deal sprints. And well, next thing I knew, it led to more opportunities.
Sure.
But you have to get the attention of somebody by that. Those roles that you're talking about, they're important for a number of reasons, but for your own self-promotion. I hate to say it like that, but that's the end of that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, it is. And you know, it's the first thing that goes through most fans' mine including, is when a situation like this with an injury is, I mean, he's really not playing that much. They're not going to lose that much production. But when you dig a little deeper and you think back into, you know, the practices, it's a bigger deal in that regard. And not, you know, it's going to set him back for one, and it'll set the team back. It's a loss. There's no doubt about it. And you know, hopefully he can just get back out there and be able to practice. It looked like, I mean, based on that surgery and what it is, it's probably one that 6 weeks from now, he'll probably be playing again in practice, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's once you see that, they're playing with these guys, that's not the point. You still have to have everything at your disposal, right? Because these seasons get long. Guys get beat down. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
Yeah, and believe me, though, when you get to 54 years old and I think back to what my body felt like, that's one of the things. I know you and I talk about this at some point every year because of injuries popping up and all that. But at this point, from this point in the year on, no one, and I don't just mean Indiana, I mean no team, no one's 100%. You have nicks, your knees hurt. I to think back on what, you know, and I'm not a high flyer, but to think back on what my knees felt like back then on the practice days, I mean, the game days were the easy ones.
That's the thing. Everyone just couldn't wait. I don't know. That's how your all's practices were designed, but a lot of coaches will go into the mantra of making practice much harder, making it to the point where you want to get to the games because they're easier.
Yeah, game days were definitely easier. I mean, you one of the things that, you know, Coach Knight was big on was we did not practice long periods of time. Like we didn't have the longest practices. I know Purdue, we used to always laugh because I would talk to those guys up there that we were friends with and how long their practices were, twice as long as ours. And I'm not saying they didn't go hard. All I'm saying is we practiced for like an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half once the Big Ten season started. But it was full go from the minute you walked on the court. It was drill, drill, drill. What were they trying to accomplish? We did some individual stuff. Like it was all, you had to go 100%. If you didn't, it would turn into a 3-hour practice. And so, I mean, we learned that lesson pretty quick.
Ironically, that's a very similar philosophy of one Kurt Cignetti, to not go long. He didn't put his team through a lot of live tackling. And if you'll notice, this Indiana team has been pretty fortunate from an injury standpoint. When you think about college football and you know injuries are going to come, that's why these bigger, better teams are deeper. They were able to get through this season with what I call minimal serious injuries. And I have to think that's a major part of that. You're not putting the players at risk because there seem to be more injuries in practice than there are games.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about it in football, like that doesn't seem uncommon. That seems normal to me, that they would get injured more in practices because you're just practicing so much more than what you're actually out on the game for, you know, the game time. So I think Cignetti, you know, takes a lot of good things from, you know, Coach Saban, and I think he's probably just coaching trees around. He's read Coach Knight stuff and all that. I think there's probably some philosophy to that makes sense, but it just for us, it built a mindset that, you know, it was business. Like even when it was a practice day, like we knew what we had to accomplish. We went out and we did it, and practice was over. If you didn't, you paid the price, and you were there for twice as long or longer. So you learn to be very focused and go in, do your business, and get out of there.
What is the game plan for Indiana tonight in Lincoln? Would you think?
I would assume that Indiana is going to have to defend the 3-point line. They have really good guards veteran guards on Nebraska. Bryce Williams, I think is his name. He's just an old head guard out there that's tough to play against. And I think Miles Rice has not been as consistent over the last 5 or 6 ball games as what the Indiana coaching staff would like. So I think that'll be something they keep an eye on. Who defends those guards will be interesting to me, because you don't want to get, you almost got to pick who you're going to get in foul trouble. Because when I think of watching Nebraska games, which I'm friends with Hoiberg, so I watch more of their games than normal, but I think of Bryce Williams being on the free throw line. Like he and Juwan Gary just seem to always be shooting free throws. And if that ends up happening tonight, it'll be a long one for Indiana.
Speaking of free throws, man, it's hard. It's almost hard not to continue to acknowledge the massive change in Umar Ballow's free throw shooting. I mean, he at points has looked like a Todd Leary out there just knocking free throws down. He was 7 of 9 at one point the other night, and I'm like, wow, this is a guy who couldn't throw it in the ocean last year. But I don't know that they realize he used to be a 70% free throw shooter in his first year, I think. What the hell happened?
They said, I don't know that this is true. I'm going off of what I heard on the broadcast, but they said that he shot left-handed couple of years and then went to right-handed last year.
Well, they switched him. Oh, okay.
More than a year or so ago. It was either 1 or 2 years he went to right-handed, and then now he's back to left-handed. And I will tell you that might sound like a crazy stretch, but I've seen that, in working with kids. There are kids. I have a son that shoots basketball left-handed and plays golf right-handed, and writes with a pen right-handed, but throws a baseball left-handed. Like it's sometimes you're almost undetermined as to what is more comfortable for a kid. And when Max, my oldest son, was playing baseball and would pitch left-handed, so I got him left-handed golf clubs to start out with, and it looked like I was trying to make a right-handed guy swing left-handed. And then I got him right-handed ones, and he swung totally normal, but he is technically sports athletically left-handed. So yeah, it can be strange in that regard. I think, with Ballo, the one thing that I would like to see them do, left-handed is fine, but they need to work on his feet and his hips and his shoulders and the angle that they are at a little bit. He's too square right now, and I mean, I could easily help him improve his free throw shooting pretty quickly. But you got to give him credit. Last year he was horrendous, and this year he's showing signs of being much better.
And big men it's weird. They're either good or they're horrible, it seems like. I guess part of it is the angle is different. They're not used to shooting.
Size of your hands. Think about like I'll say this. It's easier to shoot a basketball from the free throw line than it is a tennis ball. Okay. And so I'm not saying the ball is the size of a tennis ball, but it's closer to the size of a tennis ball than it is to my hand. So just
like a softball in some of those guys' hands.
It is. And so there's some of that to it. A lot of it is just touch. Like, there's a lot of guards who are shorter that just, you can tell they don't have touch. They don't have shooting touch. I mean, it's just, I don't know if it's something you're born with or you kind of develop it over stuff that you do, but like guys who are coordinated and good at most ball sports, I would say, baseball, basketball, football, and all that, like they seem to have better touch, especially lefties. So
Yeah, Brian said it seemed like a grapefruit for Ballo. That could be his breakfast. Hey, Todd Leary is with us here on this
He doesn't
Friday.
look like he eats grapefruit. He doesn't look like he eats grapefruit for breakfast.
No, he doesn't. He looks like he eats the grapefruit trees, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got more coming up, and we'll be back with it right after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum, Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-701-0838. 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore help you find the home you want today.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at BenDavisChevrolet.com and BenDavisFord.com.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Friday. I hope you had a great week, and if not, you're going to have a great weekend. I just got a good feeling. Todd Leary is here to start it off for you. And Todd, the NCAA tournament is probably going to grow. Not a huge shock to people, as that has been rumored for a while. But, of course, this push is being led by Greg Sankey of the SEC because they need more. And I could just stop right there. But he wants more teams in the tournament, of course. It's all about money, and I get that, because as this industry keeps changing, and now schools are going to be paying players directly, that $20 million pot, once that stuff gets folded out, they want as much of the piece of the pie as they can get, and I understand that. It's just a reality. So I'm not going to sit here and bang on, well, back in our day, right. It doesn't matter. It's that ship sailed, people. And with basketball, I don't have as big a problem of it, because, man, in basketball, you get upsets, and that changes the course of the whole deal. That you want to talk about a freaking minefield? It's the NCAA tournament, man. You never know who is going to step up and just have a game of their life, but. It's going to change the tournament. If you go to 76 teams, back it wasn't that long ago. It was 40 something, 48. Back was it 48 when you were in school?
Nope.
It was 64 by then already.
I think so.
Yeah. I can't remember when it started really going upwards, but I don't know that it is going to make that big of a difference. But here's the funny thing is the number of teams in the expansion is going to be decided because there's only a certain window because of the limited time they have to schedule games between when the conference championships end and the coverage of the Masters begins. So the Masters is playing a part on how big the NCAA tournament can grow.
Yeah, but it's also like it's not going to grow to 200 teams. So it's not. They're really probably only adding one game, if even that. And they've already done that a little bit on the Tuesday. Selection shows on Sunday, and generally play starts on Thursday. And now they've started it on that Tuesday, Wednesday for the play-in games. That's all that will really probably be expanded. And I'm not against it because when you look at, like let's just take the Big Ten as an example because we're a Big Ten country, but you could say the same thing in the SEC. And there's so many teams that should be in. I mean, it used to be, when the Big Ten was 12 or 14 teams or whatever it was. I mean, to take 9 or 10 teams out of it almost seemed unfair. But now there's 18 teams in the Big Ten? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, to say you're going to take 12 teams out of a league, I'll stop saying the Big Ten so I don't sound biased, but to say you're going to take 12 out of 18 teams from a league doesn't sound near as crazy. So I don't mind it. I don't think I think because they have kind of these super conferences right now, as long as that stays the way that it is, I probably think they should expand it just a little bit, but I don't want to see it go to, as much as I am for one class basketball in high school in the state of Indiana, and they've already ruined that. I'm not for that. Like in the NCAA tournament, I do think you should qualify. I think there's it's one of the greatest tournaments in the world. Why mess with it? And I understand the college football playoffs, this 12-team playoff. To say that they expanded that to 12, that needed to be done years and years and years ago. Like this should have been done, in my opinion, years ago.
Yes.
Basketball has already kind of done that, and I think they're at the level of where it should go to. Plus, I don't mind all the other littler tournaments. Like I don't mind NIT and the CBI and all those other tournaments going on. So I don't mind a little bit of the expansion. I don't think it should go to 128 teams or anything like that.
And I'll be honest, there's money in it. I mean,
sure.
You put basketball games on TV, people are going to watch them.
Sure.
Especially if they're a tournament game, it's going to draw eyes because, like I said, there's going to be upsets. That's going to get attention. You're bringing in a bigger pool of eyeballs. So it's all money driven, and I get that. But the fans are pretty much the benefactors to that, though. They're
sure.
getting more. So there's not really much to complain about from a fan standpoint. Teams that may not make it in, that haven't made it in, that have those first 4 out teams. Well, now they're not first 4 out. That's down the line a little bit. Boy, if you're the first 4 out after that deal, you're going to really feel bad.
Yeah, no kidding.
We couldn't get into a 76-team tournament. Damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, you keep thinking if they expand it just a little bit more, then there won't be those teams that are disappointed when they're one of the first ones that don't make it. But there's always going to be someone's always going to be the first 4 and the next 4 and whatever it is. So that's not going to get solved by this. But I do think that it's something that's not that big a deal. I'm not really for or against it. I think the tournament's great the way it is, and don't really know that it needs to be. I thought the play-in games, I don't totally understand those because if the play-in games were all 16 seeds, I would kind of understand it. But I don't really understand how they end up being like 10 or 11 seeds or 12 seeds or whatever they are at some point.
See, that's kind of like the college football playoffs.
It's a little right.
It's a little wonky because
Yeah.
you've got teams that are ranked here, but they're seated here.
Right.
And it's a vastly different spot. And it's
right.
Well, you go from hosting a game to traveling. And that is huge in the first round right now. If you don't believe me, look at Indiana and Notre Dame. There's going to be 77,000 people there. Well, 74 of them are going to be Notre Dame people because the opposing team only gets 3,500 tickets like it's a regular game. I don't like that aspect of it.
I don't either.
That's the good thing about the NCAA tournament. It's neutral site. It's equality. And this is so big that I'm fine with the home games, but you got to split the tickets up. You've got to make this more of a.
And I agree with you. I don't think it needs to be split 50-50, but I do think it needs to be a bigger difference. Like it should be like 20% of the tickets or something along those lines. But then you deal with season ticket holders and all the. It just becomes a problem at that point.
Well, but I mean,
not playing neutral
the Indiana people, fans have no chance. If you're a fan of Indiana, unless you're probably a very wealthy person, you're not in line to get tickets for this game. This is going to be and there's not that many people probably after all is said and done, the band, the players' families and friends and coaches and administrators and on down the line.
Yep.
There's hardly now Indiana fans will have to find their way in via the secondary ticket market, which in this game is incredibly expensive right now. Those prices will drop, of course, as you get closer to kickoff, and there'll be more Indiana fans there. But it would just be, I think it would be a better environment if you had more of a better split, because, and I think that's what you want.
I am a little bit surprised that, and I haven't sat down and thought through the logistics of it, of whether it's feasible to do it or not. But I'm surprised they're not doing it like it used to be with bowl games, where it's just a neutral site game. And I don't know. I don't know why they're playing them as home games. I'm assuming
it's cheaper
for ticket
to be
sales.
honest.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. Yeah. But they don't have to rent, say, a Lucas Oil Stadium. But let me tell you, how big would this game be if Indiana and Notre Dame were playing at Lucas Oil Stadium?
Right. It'd be awesome. It'd be a big deal. So yeah, I that part of it's a little strange, but I'm also like, if I start complaining about that, all I'm doing is complaining, because I love the fact they've expanded it to the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here in year one and start ripping saying, why do we have to play on the road? Like, hey, I think Indiana's happy and fortunate to be where they're at. There are a lot of teams that would trade to be where they're at right now. So
I guarantee it.
They'll take a road game. They'll take whatever.
And actually, it's a great opportunity for Indiana, because if they can overachieve or overcome this obstacle that will be in front of them by having a road game at Notre Dame, man, that gives you an instant stamp of credibility, not that they need it. Curt Cignetti last night winning a National Home Depot Coach of the Year award, but it certainly wouldn't hurt. Plus, you move on into playoffs, most importantly.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it's
still may end up with that Indiana-Georgia game after all, man.
Yeah, I know. It'd be cool to play at home. I get all that, but I'll say this. Some of the most satisfying and great feeling after a game wins are those ones you go get on the road, and it gives them that opportunity. Yeah, sure, if you could choose it, you would choose the home game, but to be able to go into somebody's place and beat their butt is a great feeling as an athlete. And so hopefully they have that situation arise, and they'll come out of it and feel a lot better about it.
And not only that, this is an iconic place to do that,
right?
And I don't think this team is going to have issues getting caught up in the mystique of Notre Dame and this, that, and the other thing, because once you're there, it's probably just another football field. As an athlete, you're on the field, you kind of get into your mind. I don't know. I'm not there and in their heads today, but home or away games, when I think about them, I was like, okay, in football, it's not as menacing, because in basketball, like, geez, you had to go to places like Mackey. They're on top of you the whole stinking game, yelling. They're in your ear the whole game. That's distracting. In football, it's loud, but they're not literally in your ear. And at a place like Notre Dame, which is still going to be big, it's not as imposing as, say, Ohio State. So Northern Illinois went in and took care of business this year. It can be done.
Yeah, and it's going to be, temperature wise, we know it's going to be pretty cold. But besides that, I just hope that I hope that the weather isn't a big factor, and I hope it's not snowing or raining or something goofy like that. I just want it to be a solid game that both teams are at their best, and there's not flukish type plays. Because I just when you watch a couple of weeks ago, they had, I think, the Thursday night game or maybe the Monday night game. One of those was the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns and all that. And it was just like a snow game. And it's just, that's not a real football game. I know it's cool to watch those, and they're, that's the elements and that's what football is and all that. But I want both these teams to go out there, be full strength, play to their strengths, and let's see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'm all about the games that with the environment making it tough, but I'm not about, say, a team from Florida having to go up and play Notre Dame in 20-degree weather.
Right.
That's not, to me, that gets back to what I was talking about earlier, but just with the tickets. I want to see who the better team is, not who the better team that's having to overcome 10 things other than the damn game itself. And And this is, this is going to sound like I'm ripping the committee, and I'm not. I know it's just the way that it has to play out. Brian's comment, I agree. You play at Lucas Oil Stadium, you eliminate the elements, and that I like that side of it. But when you're playing, when people sitting in a room, and I'm not ripping the committee, I know it has to be done this way, but I'm just saying this: when people sitting in a room rank teams, and they rank one team based on eye test ahead of another team, which means that team gets to play at home. I don't like it that way. Like, put them on a neutral field and let the two teams play out. We know how rankings work. You know what I feel about rankers and the 4 stars and 5 stars of the world. Committees not in that category, but pretty close. I don't want to base a home game off of their ranking system. I agree. And look who is hosting the home games in the opening round. It's Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas,
and
I'm forgetting the
Brand.
fourth. Exactly. Brand.
Yep.
And Notre Dame is the one that probably is up there more so than anyone that shouldn't be. In my opinion, they didn't do jack squat this year, but neither did Penn State. But that's not relevant because they are where they are, and that's how it is. You have to earn your way out of that, I guess. It's like not getting calls. You have to kind of earn your way to get the calls.
No doubt about it. And the best way to go do it is to go do it. The best way to get those calls, the best way to get the home game is you go win at Notre Dame next year. If you're in it again, they might look at it a little different. And it's all out there in front of you. Look, Indiana, had they gone and beat Ohio State, Indiana would be hosting a game. So they had it in front of them. And that's all we can ask for is those opportunities. And I'll tell you right now, if you could choose and pick, would you choose to go play at Penn State or at Notre Dame? I could probably make arguments both ways, but I don't know that there's that big of a difference in either one of those. So I don't I'm not going to sit here. I feel fortunate that they're in. But I don't mind this game. Now they may go up there and Notre Dame may beat their brains in. I don't know, but I don't mind this opportunity Indiana has.
Fred pointing out that neither Duke, nor Kansas, nor Kentucky, nor UCLA, nor UConn are in the college football playoffs. That is correct, and you will never see UConn in the college football playoffs. And
don't say never, because a year ago people would have said you will never see Indiana in the college football playoffs.
You're not lying. You're not lying. Man, there's been some changes in the game. We're about out of time, but coaching, Dan Mullen off the sidelines now from ESPN to take over at UNLV because Odom went to Purdue, and just a lot of changes out there.
Belichick at North Carolina.
Oh, Belichick! How? I guess it makes it easier when because his girlfriend's still in college, right?
You're gonna be the first one to throw those jokes out, huh?
Oh man, well you know what? Gotta get it. You gotta make hay while the sun's shining, brother.
There you go.
How's your weekend looking?
Well, probably be a lot of basketball since there's no football this weekend, but there's some really good games on all weekend long, so it'll be a good TV weekend.
Yeah, and actually, I think the bowl season begins today, as a matter of fact.
Really?
I
didn't even know they still had the bowls.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. They've got to do, man, they've got to do something with all these other teams. What is today? The 13th? Oh, yeah. And today's Friday the 13th, by the way.
Is it really?
Not excited about that one. Saturday, it looks like. Cricket. The Cricket Celebration Bowl. These names crack me up.
Right.
I mean, they never disappoint.
People pay money.
Todd Leary, cannot tell you how much we appreciate you, sir. Hope you have a great weekend.
You too.
Appreciate you, brother. Todd Leary joining us here on the program, and always grateful. That'll wrap it up for this hour. We'll head to the break, and we've got Zach Osterman on the other side. Matt Taylor will join us, and Jeffrey the Greek once we return to the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Hoosier Hanks East, located on College Ball Road in front of Kroger in Bloomington, is everything you could want. Great food like their custom pizzas, wings, wraps, unbeatable daily drink specials, live music on Fridays, and Hoosier Hanks East is home to Inside Indiana Football and Inside Indiana Basketball coaches shows hosted by Don Fisher. Be on the lookout for Hoosier Hanks ticket giveaways to Indiana and Colts games on social media. Stop by and meet Hoosier Hank at Hoosier Hanks East on College Ball Road in Bloomington. Hungry for something a little different? Well, head to the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford, where oceanic flavors meet southern charm with a Cajun flair, like their loaded voodoo fries, gator bite, or jambalaya, and so much more. The Rusty Gator also has live music each Friday and Saturday night with some of the best local and regional artists around. Visit the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford and get your Cajun on. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-701-0838. 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore help you find the home you want today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Friday, heading into the weekend, and I'm happy about it. I'm not hating it. I'm looking forward to not having to wake up tomorrow morning for once. But it is, we are missing football a little bit. But it'll be back, and it will be back with an abundance. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star, the beat writer, IU beat writer for the Indy Star, joins us now. Zach, how are you, sir?
Hey, how we doing?
Cannot complain, man. Cannot complain. It's Friday and a weekend that doesn't have to work quite as hard as normally. Indiana has a basketball game late tonight, but then we're football free until next Friday. But next week is going to be an absolute incredible week. It is a big-time opportunity for Indiana. We'll get to that. Tonight, the Hoosiers on the hardwood go into Lincoln, Zach, in a game that I call it kind of a must-win game. Not like it fits into the normal must-win category, but it's because this year the Big Ten is such a juggernaut. By that I mean there are so many teams that can just beat you every night that you cannot miss an opportunity to get a road win in this conference this year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd call any game. Sorry, I've been sick all week. I was supposed to go to the game tonight, but I'm still running a fever. I don't know if I'd call any game in December a must win. Nebraska's kind of a funny team. You know, they beat Creighton a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And that was before Creighton's injuries kind of hit. I mean, that was, kind of the best of Creighton this season, so to speak. And even, they lost on a neutral floor to St. Mary's by 3. That's totally fine. Obviously Randy Bennett's St. Mary's teams are always really good. But then on the other hand, they only beat Bethune-Cookman by 5. They only beat South Dakota by 17. They got absolutely buried last Saturday at Michigan State, 89-72. And they're not really, and you're careful to look at the KenPom numbers and things when the team's only played 8 games. They're still not fully formed. But they're not really like the Fred Hoiberg teams that we've kind of known in the past in terms of their ability to just kind of score really freely, really efficiently. They're shooting under 30% on threes. They're actually not shooting a ton of threes. 215th in the country in three-pointers, three-point attempts as a percentage of field goal attempts. They are 311th in percentage of points scored on threes. So, they're not shooting a ton of threes, making a ton of threes, scoring a lot of points on threes the way they did, obviously, last season. And Indiana fans will remember that, probably not fondly, but they'll remember that. They're better defensively. They turn teams over a little bit. They're not a great rebounding team. They're not a terrible rebounding team. But my point is mostly just, they're kind of they're a funky outfit to figure out exactly what to kind of expect from this team in this game. And as much as anything, that's probably why I'm hesitant to call it a must win, just because I'm not really sure what Nebraska is at the moment. And I think, listen, if you're Indiana, I think you need to look at it as a big opportunity because, this is still a quad 1 win if Indiana wins it. The net rankings are out now. They're being updated pretty much daily. And if you're Indiana, you probably have a certain amount of faith that Fred Hoiberg in Nebraska can kind of hold that up as a quad 1 over the course of the season. And also, if you're Indiana, you just want to continue to lend yourself to the idea that you are, kind of digging out of the hole that you kind of fell into in the Bahamas, and a win at Nebraska, a road win in the Big Ten, first time of asking against a team that obviously really, really kind of had your number a year ago. To make it 5 wins from 5 since you got back from, or since that Gonzaga loss, rather. I just think that the opportunity to feel like you continue building towards something positive, building forward towards something better, is really strong. It's so hard for me to figure out what Nebraska is right now, to be honest, that I'm not sure what I'd call this game other than just, I think it's an opportunity that Indiana's got to try and take.
Yeah, and like I said, there are so many teams that I don't want to say no, but we have a pretty good understanding and idea of where they are going to be and how they are. And Indiana is also one of those teams that we're still waiting to see what their identity is, where they are going to wind up in this hierarchy of Big Ten teams, where that doesn't show one to be outstandingly elite at the top, but man, is there a bunch of teams that can beat you on every day, especially if you're playing at their place. And it's going to be I think that the Big Ten champion this year has maybe 6 losses, which is kind of a big number for a Big Ten champion.
I mean, again, if you look at Pomeroy's projections, I agree with you. The most, he's got anybody projected to win is 13 games with 7 losses. And I think to your point, if you just look at it, the Big Ten as a whole, you've only got 2 teams outside the top 100 right now. You've only got 3 teams outside the top 75. And if I'm just counting here, the majority of your teams, I think 10 or 11, maybe even 12 of the Big Tens. I guess 13 because Wisconsin's down there at 0-2, but they're still 35th. 13 of your 18 teams are ranked in the KenPom top 50, which means there's quality wins everywhere. And do you wind up in a situation like what the Big 12 was in a year ago, where we kind of talked about? I know it became a bit of a talking point how the Big 12 kind of gamed the net a little bit, but last season, the Big 12 out of its, I'm trying to get, yes, the Big 12 still has 12 teams, or no, it has 14 teams. We got to get these numbers straight. Forgive me, my brain's not turned on. But last year the Big 12 had, I think, 10 or so teams, 9 or 10 teams in the top 50. It had 12 teams in the top 70. It only had a couple teams in the top 10 in Houston and Iowa State. But the point was that because everybody was good, you had Houston was clearly like the best team in the conference. But every night you were either picking up a quality win or an acceptable loss. And so what you had was a conference where a whole bunch of teams finished between 8 and 13 wins, but everybody had quality across their schedule. And, consistently, no one was taking a big hit in the KenPom, the net, the Torvik, whatever, when they lost, because they were losing to good teams. And it kind of became this rising tide that lifted all boats. Now, I think the Big Ten's probably too large and unwieldy to really be able to hope that's going to happen, kind of across the board this year. But I do think you could wind up in a situation where, you have genuinely 12 to 14 teams pushing for NCAA tournament spots. Because listen, who's going to take these spots if the big conferences don't get them? I see people still saying, I think the Big Ten could get 9 or 10 teams. It's like the Big Ten was getting 9 or 10 teams in when it had 14 members. It's got 18 now. Like a whole conference is gone. So somebody's got to go take these bids. And if the Pac-12 was good for, let's say, 6 bids a season on average, well, the Big Ten probably got 3 of the teams that were getting those 6 bids. So suddenly 10 bids becomes 13 or even 14. And if you have a conference like what the Big Ten has, as long as, and this is again where maybe Indiana looks at this tonight as an opportunity, these next 2 games Indiana's got, I keep coming back to the KenPom rankings. Forgive me, but I was looking at them before we got on here, so they were in front of me. The next 2 Big Ten games Indiana plays are against KenPom 62 Nebraska and KenPom 68 Rutgers. Indiana only has 2 more games the entire rest of the season after that against teams that are not currently ranked in the KenPom top 60. And if you take care of your business against the few bad teams remaining on your schedule, then you really do create a situation for yourself where it's nothing but opportunity going back the other way.
Yeah, the lack of non-conference quality wins can be, I don't want to say erased, but marginalized when you're in a conference like the Big Ten that offers so many challenges / opportunities to make up for that. And they will have plenty of opportunities to make up for not having that non-conference Q1 win early on, because the conference has grown, for one thing. You've added more quality teams that they're going to have to play. Oregon, UCLA, so that can, in essence, be counted as a non-conference quality win of sorts, because that is what that would have been had, when they weren't in the Big Ten. So you can look at it two ways. The non-conference quality wins are important, but when you're in a conference like Indiana, that's the Big Ten, that's going to have so many tournament teams, you get a lot of those opportunities to kind of make up for that.
No, exactly. That's why I think if there is sort of and it's the Nebraska game is a little different. Like if you're looking at the remaining games against teams that are kind of struggling for net or for Ken Palm right now, some of those are at home, like Rutgers at home, Southern Cal at home. You play Washington away, but that's not until March. That feels like a lifetime from now. The opportunity of a game like Nebraska is, it's a quad one win. No, you don't want it to be the highest quality win on your resume if Nebraska is on Selection Sunday roughly as it is right now. But the more you kind of build your foundation on wins over teams like the one you beat Monday night in Minnesota, teams like Nebraska, teams like Rutgers, and again, Southern Cal, the more you sort of say, okay, that's those wins stack up faster than you realize, and suddenly you're 4-0 in the conference, or you're 5-0 in the conference. Or you talked about maybe not being a very high number to win at least a share of the league title this year. Well, what if Indiana gets 1, 2, 3 in total, 4, 5, 6 games in Big Ten play, 3 at home, 3 on the road against teams that aren't currently in the Ken Palm top 50? It's not the easiest thing in the world, but if you sweep those 6 games, then you're already halfway to 12 wins. And if you can win 12 games in this conference, you're probably in the conversation to win 14 or 15 and win a share of it. And then it's just about, can you flip enough of those coin toss games in your favor? My point is, that's where I think opportunity comes in on a night like tonight, where Indiana is it's much more about, can you make the road easy for yourself at the end by doing some good work closer to the beginning. And that's in the Big Ten race. It's in building your NCAA tournament resume. It's in all these things. And I think from Indiana's perspective, that's why I think a night like tonight isn't so much a must win as it is an opportunity for this team maybe to, I know we talked about, how bad the Bahamas were, but this is kind of an opportunity for this team maybe to start repaving some of that road, because at the end of the day, bad losses in November are bad losses in November and not in February, not in March. Not if you do the work necessary to get better from them, and then also sort of counteract them on your tournament resume when you have the opportunity to. And that's what I think is in front of Indiana tonight.
Absolutely. Zach Osterman, beat writer for IU for the Indy Star. Appreciate you, my friend, and I hope you get feeling better, brother.
Absolutely. Sorry about my voice.
Oh, it's all right, man. I hope you feel better. Zach Osterman joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and happy to have him. We've got more coming up. Matt Taylor from the Colts will join us as Indianapolis heads west, young man, to take on the Broncos in what a lot of people are calling this a playoff game for Indianapolis, because it's kind of a must-win situation as well. We will be back with Matt Taylor. Jeffrey the Greek joins us after that as well. Back with more right after these messages from the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the hard truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf Community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com.
Hoosier Hanks East, located on College Ball Road in front of Kroger in Bloomington, is everything you could want. Great food like their custom pizzas, wings, wraps, unbeatable daily drink specials, live music on Fridays, and Hoosier Hanks East is home to Inside Indiana Football and Inside Indiana Basketball coaches shows hosted by Don Fisher. Be on the lookout for Hoosier Hanks ticket giveaways to Indiana and Colts games on social media. Stop by and meet Hoosier Hank at Hoosier Hanks East on College Ball Road in Bloomington. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Maria in Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family-friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Maria in Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. Glad to have you along, and looking forward to a nice, calm weekend. Enjoy some basketball games, relax, watch a few of the early bowl games that I believe start tomorrow. They're lower end games, but you've got NFL this weekend. I mentioned the Colts are in Denver. The transfer portal. Tracking the portal, baby. Billy Edwards Jr. from Maryland. He's going into the portal. That's not a big surprise. Miller Moss from USC that entered the portal was on a visit to Louisville, I believe, yesterday or so. So that looks pretty. Jeff Brom getting his hands on a guy like Miller Moss. That's going to be interesting to see him go from Lincoln Riley to Jeff Brom. And that could be a big feather in Jeff Brom's cap if he can take a Miller Moss and, well, have more success than what Lincoln Riley did, which, boy, USC was a weird team. They were, mediocre from a record standpoint, and you are what your record says you are. But every game, save for the Notre Dame game, they had a fourth quarter lead in. Their season could have been so different, but could have beens are not valid in today's world. So, that'll be interesting. Indiana's going to have to bring in a quarterback. Who is that going to be? And I have been enthralled with the fact that Fernando Mendoza has entered the portal ever since he entered, and I just wonder, because he's a Cignetti type of guy. He is a Cignetti type of quarterback. He threw for over 3,000 yards last year for Cal. Took care of the ball, 6 interceptions, 16 passing touchdowns, but he can run the ball. He is a legit dual threat quarterback, which is what Kurt Cignetti likes in his offense. And I think that's the only thing, I don't want to say lacking, but that Indiana's offense currently does not have. They are pretty good in all other aspects. They've got to beef up the O-line, of course, but that will come in time. But their running backs, the quarterback, The receivers, they're in pretty good shape. And to be able to keep rolling, but the quarterback has been phenomenal, obviously, in Curtis Rourke having an incredible season. And because of a previous prior injury, he doesn't really run the ball that much. He hasn't needed to. And you would hope that that's not a necessity either. But it's sure nice to have the ability when the opportunity either presents itself or is forced upon you. And that is just another piece that Indiana can add to their offense. And look at the success Cignetti has had. I mean, seriously. I mean, Google it. He is his teams have been very good offensively. Imagine how it's going to be as they continue to move forward and get better talent. The talent is going to get better. It's going to continue to get to a higher level. Winning creates more opportunities. That's part of why Indiana's talent level is going to rise. There are going to be guys that want to come to Indiana now that was not the case before. Now with Fernando, I don't know if he's would want to come to Indiana because his brother is here as a quarterback, and they would be in direct competition with each other. Although Alberto, I can't get it anymore. I cannot trill my R's. I don't know what happened, but Alberto he's good. He's a good quarterback as well. Both these guys from Miami. The Cuban Cabal. There you go. Maximum Mendoza. That's funny. Yeah, that would be kind of a cool thing for Indiana to have. As a matter of fact, Alberto replaced his brother at the high school level. His brother was uberly successful, as you can imagine. Alberto was very successful, but he followed him. So what are the chances that fans get to see that at Indiana? A brother quarterback and who is followed by his brother. That opportunity is there. Now, the other good part of that is that Indiana has a deep quarterbacks room. You have Taven Jackson, and this, will only add to that. That's what should make players better. You have to have competition to get better, to make you get better. And so we'll see. We'll see. But Indiana's work is, think about the difficulties right now. If you're a coaching staff that is in the college football playoffs, your number one goal and priority is preparing for what, in Indiana's case, is yet again the biggest game in program history. That's happened. That's not the first time that's happened this season. But this game at Notre Dame in the college football playoffs, without bar none, is the biggest opportunity in the history of IU football. And I think that now supersedes the opportunity they had in 67 of beating USC in the Rose Bowl. That's pretty big. Don't get me wrong. The biggest difference is it wasn't in a playoff. And that's what makes this even bigger. So the opportunity for Indiana to put a gigantic stamp of legitimacy on their program. And if you're a fan, you're going to say they don't need it. If you're not, you're going to say they need it. And I could argue both sides for you. It's pretty easy to go. There will come I think they need it from the standpoint of you have to do something to just kind of erase doubts at some point. And I think this is, well, I don't think, I know this is one of those opportunities to do just that. If Indiana were to go to South Bend and win that game, man, the ramifications are gigantic. Again, like they were if they went to Ohio State. But Matt Taylor,
I'll do that one day in the offseason.
joining us here on today's program. How's it going, brother?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, well, if I was any better, I'd be Matt Taylor.
You got an audience today. What's going on with you?
Well, you know, we always try to have one. Well, you got some extras with you. We can always use more.
Yeah, I got some goofballs in studio with me, so they just want to say hi. I got my colleagues here. Jeffrey Gorman, hold on. Go ahead. You in there? There you go.
Hey, how are you, man?
Pop on. There you go.
How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. That's the best part.
I got Jeffrey Gorman here with me,
Oh,
and
man.
I've got the great Casey Valier on Colts Radio. Casey, say hello.
Hey.
Hello to everybody. You guys are getting ready to head out to Denver, or have you already left?
We leave tomorrow. We leave tomorrow afternoon.
Have you packed your oxygen packs? Everyone have their masks and all that?
No, I got the breathe right strips, the nose strips, you know, that little band that goes across the no, I don't have those yet, but no, I mean, it is a real thing. I mean, not to sound too dramatic, but I mean, you do, I called the game a couple of years ago out there, and shortness of breath is a real thing. I mean, I'm not trying to be like, you know, out of shape radio guy, but I mean, it's a real thing when you call a game a mile high in the air. It's a little much. Well, needs more oxygen in the tank.
I've got to be honest, as in all my experiences and different things that I've been able to do, one thing is I have not had to experience that of having to deal with the upper atmosphere and the lack of lesser oxygen, however you want to say it. I've not experienced that. So I cannot speak from experience of how difficult it makes it. And I would think in a game, whether it's basketball or football, yeah, that's huge for the home teams. I'm surprised it's not more of an advantage, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised, you know, you survey the locker room, and we did this a couple of years ago in 2022, but that week was a short week. You played on Thursday night football. So the storylines just didn't get enough play and as much juice as they normally do. But with this game being a Sunday game, plus it's such a huge game for the Colts in terms of magnitude, everything's been talked about ad nauseum. Plus you've had the preview of this game for 2 weeks with both of these teams coming off the bye. But in talking to a lot of guys in the locker room this week, they're all saying, yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, DeForest Buckner's talked about how he's felt it in games past in Denver. Reggie Wayne has talked about it. Bill Brooks, former Colts wide receiver, has talked about just you feel that shortness of breath in your chest and your lungs. And obviously, we all know that the ball is going to carry more on passes and more on kicks and punts. So that's always a special equation to it on special teams as well. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how it all plays out. But I think if you've played out there before, you do your due diligence, you go through your processes to get ready. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I think it's a factor in getting ready for again the magnitude of this game.
Absolutely. Do you notice it? Because I assume you're in the press box, the windows are open and all that. Can you actually notice it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That game a couple years ago came down to the wire. I know a lot of people like to make fun of that game because it was 12-9, all field goals, but it did come down to the wire, right? There was some crunch time fourth quarter moments. And so, your pace picks up and the intensity picks up. And so in those moments, I absolutely did notice it in terms of having to take some deeper, more substantial breaths. And again, I'm not trying to overblow it, but you do notice that you're just in a different environment than what you're used to. So you get used to it, but you definitely had to acclimate to it.
Absolutely. Coach, this is a big opportunity. They had the week off, Matt, and now they go out to Denver. In essence, a de facto playoff game to keep their playoff hopes alive.
And that's what makes it so interesting. I've never been part of anything like this before because, the situation around this game is that if the Colts lose it, the math says they basically have no chance to make the playoffs because Denver's that team that they're chasing, and Denver, if they win, the Broncos beat the Colts, they would essentially have a 4-game lead over the Colts because of the head-to-head tiebreaker in play 2 with only 3 games to play. So that means the Colts wouldn't be able to overtake them. So you have like this mega important game that has all these playoff ramifications tied around in it, I should say, for both of these teams. But it's not a week 18 regular season finale. It's not a win and you're in game. So regardless of how this game goes, you're still going to have 3 games after it to play. But this game is like for all the marbles, even though it's week 15, but not week 18. So it's kind of like a playoff game before the playoffs with 3 games after it, if that makes any sense. So it's really kind of fascinating. But I think the Colts, they all know that this is it. This is a playoff game, essentially. They are in playoff mode right now. It's a one-and-done mentality. And, I was thinking about this the other day, like the core of this team has been here for the last 5-6 years. Guys like DeForest Buckner and Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly and Jonathan Taylor and Kenny Moore and Zaire Franklin, EJ Speed, Julian Blackman. You can go on and on and on. And a lot of these guys have experienced, I don't know, playoff failure is the right word, but, opportunities to do something, and they have come up short. The week 18 game last year, the regular season finale a couple years ago in 2021, when all they had to do was beat a bad Jacksonville team on the road, and they came up short in that game. So I'm interested to see if this is the year that the nucleus of the team can rally and win a big game in a big moment that has a lot of playoff stakes kind of all intertwined within it. Because it's been a lot of suck. Honestly, it's been a lot of suck situations. Week 18 last year, that was not fun. The regular season finale in 21, that was not fun. And I think hopefully these guys can use those lessons and those experiences to their advantage and close out what would be, in my opinion, a signature road win that again keeps your playoff destiny and your playoff hopes very much alive.
It never gets old.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Never gets old, man. I love that. Speaking of playoffs, the college football playoffs are upon us as well. I know that's out of your wheelhouse as far as working, but you are a big-time fan and enjoy it. And, man, a very, very special game this year as Indiana travels to South Bend, the Hoosiers and the Irish, first time since 91. But the ramifications of this game are gigantic on both sides because, obviously, if you're Indiana and you can go to South Bend and win, well, that all the good things, all the flowers just trickle down from that. And if you're Notre Dame, you damn sure can't lose to Indiana at home.
I love the perception about this game because we're still viewing these two teams in this game through the historical prism instead of just worrying about how they got there this year. And so I love the fact that, like, these Notre Dame podcasters and fans just can't wrap their brain and their perspective on trying to give Indiana any sort of credit or respect. But hey, listen, I think it's going to be a great game. I want to know, are you going? How you getting up there? What's the routine here?
My vehicle, man. I'm going to drive. Who do you think? I got a private jet waiting on me?
Yeah, but you got the credential. You're going to be sitting up there in the cushy press box. Is that it?
I will be inside. I will not be outside in the elements. Yes.
There you go.
Nice. And if that makes me a sissy, I'm a sissy. I'll take it. But I haven't been there. Well, I have, but I haven't been there in the press box since 91. That's when they made all those changes since then. They had the best hot dogs. That's what it stinks out to me when I was there last. But it's an incredible place. It really is. I have to acknowledge that when you're there, you're at a place of reverence, man. And there is a difference. I wonder how that because I've seen over the years with basketball teams, they come into Simon Scott Assembly Hall and they've got their phones out, they're taking pictures, It's kind of the same deal at Notre Dame, but it won't be in this situation, obviously, but it has that kind of aura to it.
No question about it. And I love the fact that it's, obviously it's in state, it's drivable. And I think that Indiana is going to take on the approach of, how they attack those West Coast trips out to UCLA. They get there as late as possible. Heck, maybe even go up late Thursday night, maybe Friday morning, and just business trip the heck out of that. And I don't think it's going to be like Ohio State. I don't think the crowd noise is going to be that significant. I mean, you're talking about 35, 40,000 less people. Plus, I don't think Notre Dame is nearly as good as Ohio State. I think they're very beatable. I think they're really good. But, I mean, they deserve, obviously, credit for getting into the college football playoff. I mean, heck, they're 11-1, even though they stubbed their toe in that one game against Northern Illinois. I still think this is a very winnable game for Indiana as long as they play well, right? But that's something that they did not do in a hostile environment last time they were in that situation at Ohio State. But I think they have learned some valuable lessons in that. And I just think they're going to play well. And I think they have a good chance to hang in there and hopefully win the football game and, continue to get a lot of credit and, get some recognition on this magical season that they're on right now.
Well, enjoy the trip, man. You and all the guys. I hope you have plenty of oxygen ready to go and enjoy the trip.
Will do, my friend. And you too. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.
We'll have to get the band back together good next week as well. Appreciate
you. You know it.
Matt Taylor
good.
from the Indy Colts joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more. Jeffrey the Greek joins us after this break from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off of your first order. Hungry for something a little different? Well, head to the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford, where oceanic flavors meet southern charm with a Cajun flair, like their loaded voodoo fries, gator bites, or jambalaya, and so much more. The Rusty Gator also has live music each Friday and Saturday night with some of the best local and regional artists around. Visit the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford and get your Cajun on. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. Looking forward to a relaxing weekend. Indiana basketball on the hardwood tonight as they take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers down in Lincoln. And a very important game for the Hoosiers, the one that they need to win. And, of course, they need to win them all, but that's not going to happen for anybody. But needing to win just because of the situation of how tough the Big Ten is going to be on the road. Even your home games are going to be battles night in and night out. So you got to get a win wherever you can. Before I forget, Pete reminded me, don't forget the college football playoff bracket for Indiana Sports Beat Radio is up at ESPN, same place where you did the other picks during the season. The only thing I don't like about this is you have to pick all the teams now instead of, which is how they do the NCAA. I get it, but man, it would be I don't know. Would it be better if we were able to do those on a week by week basis or a game by game basis, round by round basis? Of course, it would be easier for everyone. That way you're not going to have a loser every time. But my picks are in. I'll tell you who I've chosen. I've got Texas beating Clemson. I picked Tennessee over Ohio State. Not for any reason other than there's going to be an upset somewhere. Of course, Indiana over Notre Dame would be an upset. And we'll see. We shall see. But Indiana would be the biggest upset, I guess, because that's a 7-10 game. The Ohio State-Tennessee game is a 9-8. And another reason to bring that up is the talk about Ryan Day. Their athletics director had to basically confirm that Ryan Day will be coming back as the head coach at Ohio State. When Ross Bjork said yesterday that he is absolutely confident that Ryan Day will be back as the Buckeyes coach in 2025. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because back when Indiana was yet to secure Kurt Cignetti, everyone, some big school's going to pluck him. Oh my God, everybody. I'm like, he's not going anywhere. This is one of the very reasons that I kept saying over and over why he's not going anywhere. Yes, Indiana Sports Beat Radio is the group, my bad, on the college pick'ems. Password is Cignetti24. Cignetti24 is the password for Indiana Sports Beat Radio CFP pick'ems. But yeah, look what Ryan Day's going through right now. And is it because he's losing? No. It is for one reason and one reason only. Well, actually, I guess two reasons. Number one, he's lost to Michigan for 4 straight years now, which this year was a bad loss to Michigan. Really bad. Michigan having a very so-so season. Ohio State gunning to return to the Big Ten championship, and they lose at home to the Wolverines. That loss stings. But look at all the flack that Day has taken over that, and he's like 60-10 or something in his career. I can't remember the exact number, and I'm not seeing it right in front of me immediately, but he's 40. Ryan Day is 47-1 against all Big Ten opponents other than Michigan. He's lost 1 game in his career at Ohio State to a Big Ten opponent not named Michigan. But yet here his AD is having to go out and say he'll be returning. That is a gigantic reason why I don't think Curt Cignetti was ever going to any of these places because that's what follows. Just my opinion on that. But how much pressure is Ryan Day under now? He can't. What happens if he loses to Tennessee at home in the CFP? Man. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And would there be? I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, it's at some point, I think even Ohio State has to acknowledge that no one is just simply superior year after year. But you don't stop trying. I mean, I can't imagine them having a better coaching staff than they do right now. They're pretty damn good. You've got a head coach as your offensive coordinator. I mean, so you've probably got multiple head coaches on that staff, in essence, truth be told. Brian says OSU fans are crazy people. The AD has some sense. Well, all fans of any program that is just consistently successful at the highest level. People think Kentucky fans are crazy. People think that Duke fans are crazy. And these fans are crazy. And then those fans say that Indiana fans are crazy, but for a different reason. It's when you are used to an upper level of success, well, that's the bar. That is the bar. And when that bar is not reached, it causes grumbling. And doesn't matter how many great things you do. If you don't do the greatest thing, that's all some people care about. We'll see how that works out. But a lot of pressure on Ryan Day in that game at home against Tennessee. Tennessee's been one of those teams that they can pull this win off. That's probably not the greatest draw for Ohio State. Tennessee plays in a big stadium, not as big, quite as big as Ohio Stadium, but they're used to that noise. So that's not going to be an issue. That's going to be one of the more exciting games, but I think they're all going to be great. I think the Indiana Notre Dame matchup is tremendous. I mean, you've got one of the top running games in the college game against one of the top run defenses in the college game, and one of the overall top defenses. But Notre Dame is no slouch. Who can get their deal done better? Indiana offensively, a team that is more of a passing team, and that means they have to protect their quarterback, which we have seen some slippage at times in that. What have they done to make some changes and adjustments in that area? The Purdue game doesn't count. I mean, that's like you play Ohio State, then you play Purdue. I mean, that's like playing a college team and then playing a JUCO team. I mean, no offense to Purdue. That was just a really, really bad season this year, a bad 2 seasons. So, but we saw with Curt Cignetti, you hire the right guy and good things can happen. They got Barry Odom from UNLV, had won. Purdue finds itself in a position too. They have to catch up in the NIL side of things. And it's going to be kind of a ground zero start for Barry Odom at Purdue, which I'm sure that does not break the hearts of any Indiana fans. Ryan says that Indiana fans need a little help from the basketball program. Of course, the football program is on the rise. Yeah, they just need to win. That's all you need. Winning cures everything. I'll say it every day. It does. You go into Nebraska tonight and on basketball and you get a win. Well, That's a chip in the bank account right there. That's exactly what that is. And Indiana basketball is going to need every one of those that they can get this season, because this Big Ten is going to be brutal. I say it over and over. It is. Not everyone from the Big Ten is going to make the NCAA tournament. Hell, not everybody from the Big Ten is even going to make the Big Ten tournament. I'm not suggesting Indiana's in that category at all. I'm not. I'm just pointing out how important, how massively important it is now. You cannot even play in your own conference tournament, possibly. A team, some team. There will be teams this year that don't play in the Big Ten tournament, like Minnesota, probably, for one. But this is an opportunity that Indiana probably did not have last year when they did not get the quality non-con wins against whether it was Kansas or Auburn or UConn. They didn't have quite as many upcoming opportunities in conference as they do this season because the addition of Oregon, UCLA. There's 2 extra games. That's no, imagine if they were playing UCLA and Oregon a year ago. That's a high quality non-conference win. So I think that is a huge difference. And it offers this Indiana team an opportunity that they didn't quite have last year, because once they got past those non-con opportunities, there was less and it was harder. It was more of an uphill climb. It's still going to be an uphill climb, but you can make it happen. I mean, there are going to be plenty of opportunities to play quality teams coming up. Vive said UNLV basketball had hired Dan Marley, didn't they? So they've got new coaches in both football and basketball. Is Dan related to Bob? That's a great question. Just kidding. I pretty certain they are not. Russell says UConn also got a commit who already committed to Indiana to play for them this season. Oh, yeah. I guess I missed out on the conversation there. But my point is, Indiana basketball still has opportunities that last season they did not have because of the expanded conference, and as opposed to football, those new teams it instantly added to the fabric of the conference. And how about Oregon? Oregon, number 1 in football, and they were undefeated in basketball, ranked number 12 until they lost to UCLA. Oregon coming in strong. UCLA, we expected to be good. USC and Washington, they're not so good this year in basketball. But, yeah, UCLA and Oregon, those are non-con opportunity wins. But not really, because they're in the Big Ten Conference now. But it's the same. A win over them will count just as much. I don't care if it's in or out of conference. It's a quality win. But there are going to be more quality wins in the conference, opportunity-wise. You go to Purdue, you go to Michigan State, you go to Maryland, you go to Illinois. I could go on down the line. Opportunities and challenges. They are going to be immense. Immense. I'm ready for some football, though. I'm not going to lie. I saw some people on earlier complaining that so much football talk. Hello, it's the college football playoff season, and Indiana's in it. Are you kidding me? Of course we're going to talk football, man. It's exciting, and you have to make hay when the sun's shining. Guess what? The football season will be coming to a close here within the next month or so. Not that there won't be plenty to talk about, because by then we'll know the transfer portal changes. Well, not all of them, some of them. There hasn't been a lot of guys from Indiana hitting the portal. There have been some, and there will always be some, but not been a ton. Brian asking if there's going to be a post-game show tonight, and that's still up in the air, Brian. I'll be honest with you. It's a Friday night, and that wouldn't be able to start until probably, 10:40 or something like that. So not sold on that tonight. Oh, yeah, we could definitely do an extra hour today, and I wish that we were doing that, to be honest with you. Is Omar Cooper coming back for his senior year? I don't know why he wouldn't. I mean, I unless he is transferring, I don't think that he is I don't think he's done enough to register on the NFL draft picks list. Is Aiden Fisher coming back? Well, again, he had a really good year. I'm not sure that he also is up there enough to where the NFL is an option this year. Not saying he couldn't do it, but another year would probably make it better for him. But those are all decisions that those guys have to make for them. Brian says Elijah Green, the only portal entrant that I recall of, at least of substance, running back. Brian says he thinks Fisher could play safety in the NFL. He's kind of a big for a safety, man. He would be a big one. But we'll see. Those guys are hanging around or not. The thing is, that's another thing about what Curt Cignetti has brought to this program. Seems like a lot of solidarity. Man, it's been a fun one as always. Cannot thank the Todd father enough. Todd Leary, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star. Matthew Taylor from the Colts and friends, I should say. Most importantly, thanks to each and every one of you guys. Without you, we have no reason to be here. But in case we don't do the post-game show tonight, appreciate you guys, and we will see you on Monday. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.